Okay. Hi, I'm Glenée E. Davis, LA's health equity nurse. Welcome to Your RX for Life. Your RX for Life, where we believe that through healthy conversations with amazing doers, everyday people find the tools they need to do more, be more, and achieve more. Today, we're talking to the amazing doer, Miranda Bowden Parker of Inglewood, California. Miranda Bowden Parker is a writer, director, content creator, influencer, author, shit talker. God truly knows her heart. She is all about showing up to be her authentic self and letting the rest fall in line. So, Miranda, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for saying yes at times when you probably wanted to say no. Thank you for not giving up on your dreams. I know that by education, you are an engineer, but your artistic life is all about writing and film production. I
Well,
am here for
actually,
this.
I didn't finish being an engineer. I actually went
Mhm.
into the corporate world.
Oh.
Yes, which I should have. I mean, I should have, but then I wouldn't have been on this creative path.
But are you enjoying the creative path?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it
Every
fits you
moment of it.
well.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, it does. It fits you well. I love the authenticity that I see and hear from you online and in some of your writings that I've had an opportunity to see, and your ambitions for the film industry in
Yes.
diversity and inclusiveness. It's just so important. I know that it's challenging. So, I'm here for this. Can you just talk to us a little bit about what you are working on now?
Well, right now, it's such a weird time because at in any other point of my life, I would have used this last, 3 months to write, to dive in. I'm trying to learn more about directing and cinematography. So I'm in those
Hmm.
classes, all of those things I would be, spending every waking moment doing them. But creatively, I've had to take a pause right now because mentally, spiritually, physically, the quarantine hit me really hard as far as just my feelings. I just didn't feel enthusiastic about the creative process during it because I wasn't in my mind. I'm not experiencing life the same. So that was that then, and then this last like 2-3 weeks, I just like got the bug again. It's like somebody gave me an injection of enthusiasm, and I'm like, now I'm back. I'm working on a couple of pilot projects, and I'm actually gonna. I did a monologue project with Leah Daniels Butler. She
Okay.
did the talent casting agent, and then
Mhm.
I did another one with Artistic Standard, and basically they went out, they did a contest, they found actors and actresses, and then we wrote a monologue for them that they have to perform. And Leah is tomorrow, so it's just those little things to keep flowing, keep the
Right.
imagination running.
Right. It sounds like you got hit with what I call a Nina Simone bug, where she says that
Yes,
the artist should reflect the times. And I thank you for being candid and sharing with us that this COVID-19 and our quarantine has really made you pivot a little bit and
yes,
and get and be in your feelings about what's taking place. And it's so important to honor our feelings if we're going to ever move past them. So taking that time
yes.
off to do that has probably has been a game change for you in ways that you haven't even began to appreciate yet.
Absolutely. And a year ago, I lost my dad. And during the time that I lost him, it was probably one of the biggest, most um, opportunity time in my career. Like I was working on set, I was writing for 2 shows, I was signing up for other projects, and people wanted me to direct, and I was doing all these things, and I'm losing one of the most important people in my life, and that I never
Yes.
really got to just mourn because I was in the midst of everything that I've ever wanted. So you don't want to stop. a good friend of mine was like, don't miss any moments. And I'm like, sometimes my dad wouldn't have wanted me to miss those moments. So I had to honor
Right.
him in doing that. But using this
Right.
year, these last couple months to really just sit in that space of making sure that I was okay mentally, physically, spiritually, all of
Right.
those things, just being able to sit with myself has been beautiful.
Oh, that is beautiful because Miranda, I understand and I hear you not wanting to miss no moments, but your grieving period is also a moment that you don't want to
Yes.
miss.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's great. And I'm so sorry that you lost your dad. I did read in the Rising Star article that was done on you, which was amazingly like written and just it was just really beautiful. I was just like, one of six, and she called Oakland like the art area, which I absolutely love. Oakland area,
Yes.
I love the Bay Area. And so even just for me, I grew up in the jungles not far from
Oh,
Inglewood,
okay. Right
in the
down the
Baldwin
street.
Hills
Right.
area, right? Yeah, in the Baldwin Hills area. And I didn't know many people who had six siblings and parents.
Right.
So that was a so that was, really telling as I was reading your story, and how it probably shaped your confidence to go out and do some things in your life.
Yes. My
Yeah,
parents
so
have
that,
always been super, super, super supportive, especially for anything artistic, creative, music, clothing. My sister's in the fashion industry, just he wanted us, they both wanted us to experience life on the grandest scale we could think.
right.
And writing and reading was always a thing for me. And my mom, both of my parents really love music, but my mom is a music junkie, and it's the
Wow.
blues and it's live music and it's jazz and it's, those things. And then my dad, he has a very religious gospel background. And, every Sunday morning it's gospel. It's all of those things that are just so incredibly
Oh, you
beautiful
are giving
to
me chills
hear.
over here.
Yes.
That is amazing. Amazing. We
Yeah.
don't listen to music as much. I think you talk about music, and I think one of the things that I regret the most is not taking my children to concerts, open concerts, and everything, so they can just
Yes.
really value music and people.
Man.
Yeah.
And in
So
the
tell me,
Bay,
how
they
did you?
used to have a park. There
Uh-huh.
was a park, and I can't think of the name of the park. And you literally would sit on the grass, and then these people would play for free every like Saturday or Sunday. And my mom would put us on BART, and we would go, and then we're just vibing the
Right.
music, and you just
And
learn
BART
that
is the
that's supposed to be.
transportation out there in Oakland,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like our
Aw.
rough, tough, and dirty, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Our
yeah, yeah.
RTD.
RTD. I love it. So, how did you get into the media film industry?
I actually worked for one of the major studios for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in the corporate, world. And I never really wanted to be in entertainment. I always thought, if anything, I would be an author, right? I would write books
Right.
because reading is just a thing for me. Like, I love it. I can get lost in a book. I think I read like 3 to 4 books a week. Just that was my thing. But a friend of mine challenged me to enter a script writing contest.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, 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 I don't want to. This isn't for me. And then I
Mm-hmm.
entered, and I got to the second round of a few contests. And it made me realize like this is a different muscle that I
Right.
wanted to develop. And I developed it. And then, literally some people that I didn't even expect to have my back in it really showed up, and they
Right.
trusted me and the hard work that they know I'm guaranteed to put out. And they got me opportunities that I really had no idea I would ever get.
Right. So, talk to me a little bit about you venturing out to do something that was not in your normalcy to do, feeling small around people who you thought were, who you saw as giants and everything, and then really living up to the expectation of not just yourself, but other people as well.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is big, especially in this business. You
Yeah.
never think that you're worthy of being on the same playing field as some of the greats. And luckily for me, my first writing position was for one of the greats. I write for Bentley Evans, who, you know, is one of the creators of Martin and Jamie Foxx show and,
Okay.
you know, a lot of stuff. And he is a complete mastermind. But he never makes you feel small. He never makes you feel like you're inadequate. He wants you to win, and he's giving you tools, jewels and information and knowledge, and, you know, dropping stuff on you, and really like he wants to mentor you. And if you're not open to it, then that's on you. But when you are, he will elevate your writing experience to like a whole new level. And he did that for me. And then, you know, I'm standing on set with him, you know, around people who have been acting and, you know, in the business for years. And these writers were, you know, they were big during the time of like all Black sitcoms, Living and Single and Moesha and the Parkers and, you know, Martin and Jamie Foxx. And they're all like these greats. And they, you know, they're all just really, really cool.
Right.
And you forget that.
That's amazing. And, you know, you spoke of like you are an author and you like, you know, writing books. I enjoy reading books, but I know that so many of our people who are disadvantaged in our communities are not big on reading. And so I feel like you moving into script so that it can be shown on something, on a medium that they use more often, is powerful. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you plan to kind of change the narrative so that they can see themselves in those small areas of your life that you felt insignificant, and how that is really like a catalyst to moving past your own stagnation? So trying to get that into film and TV shows.
I think people, the hardest part is people have to realize that everybody has a story, no matter where you grow up, right? And you have to find the stories that relate to you. So a lot of people that I know that would technically say they're not readers or writers, they've been journaling since they were young, right? Or they have these amazingly incredible stories that they just don't feel comfortable putting on paper, because it's always, why would someone want to hear me, right? Why would somebody want to hear my story or my imagination or my ideas? And I feel like that's when you have a responsibility to introduce them to works along the lines of what they, you know, what they're interested in. So when I was young, I had a really good friend that he hated reading. He thought it was the worst thing you could ever do to a kid was to force them to read, right? And then, but he was always into graphic novels. Well, we have Donald Goines, who is one of the greatest graphic novelists in the world. And he lived here in LA, and he's telling LA, you know, hood gang stories through his writing, and they were incredible. And he would write them in like 20 hours. And then he read all of them, and they're still on his shelf to this day. And he's like an avid reader right now. But what he had to find was he had to find the stories that captured him.
Right.
And it may not be a life that, it may not be a life
story.
Right. That you necessarily live either. It may just be a life that you're interested in. I have a friend who's very interested in romantic fantasy. Well, you know, I remember Fabio books, and I remember my mom couldn't wait for 7-Eleven to put out the next one. And you're like, 7-Eleven was the bookstore when I was young.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And all you remember is him brushing his hair, and he was on commercials.
Fabio.
But it was a thing. Yes. And now I tell people all the time, I hated fantasy growing up. I mean, period. I don't like, in my mind, I don't like fantasy stories. But Wizard of Oz is my favorite story in the whole world. That's a whole fantasy.
Listen,
so you
Wizard of Oz, I was in my 40s when I heard Wizard of Oz for the first time. Like, it's a great story, but I never heard it the way that I heard it when I was in my 40s. So
yes.
Yeah. So
isn't that crazy? And I didn't like Shakespeare. Crazy. Until somebody gave me the Shakespeare. See, somebody gave me the Shakespeare comic books. I
Mm-hmm.
am an avid reader of him now because I couldn't understand the story because of the language, right?
Right.
Because you're missing parts of it, that why is he using this word versus that word? These comic books changed the way that I looked at him. And now Taming of the Shrew is one of my favorite stories in the whole world. And he
Oh,
was telling
wow.
stories that all of us have lived through. We've all lived through love and betrayal and, heartbreak and,
Mm-hmm.
worry about what's coming in the future. And he was telling those stories. He just told them differently than we
Right.
expected them to be told.
Right.
So
When
that's
you
create.
mentioned voice, yeah, it's, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, you mentioned voice and you mentioned language. And so those are
Yes,
some very important key points in every industry, not just the healthcare industry, what I'm in, or the film industry, or the
yep,
financial industry. We all have to rethink the way that we're communicating with people so that they
yes,
can get leverage from whatever industry that they are consumers of, or are embarking to, become career people in. So yeah, I
right.
think that is so
Absolutely.
important,
And I
very
think that
important.
delivery is everything. Yeah, delivery is
Yeah.
everything, especially like even in the healthcare, you know, I've had people talk at me in healthcare. And then I've had partners in my health. You know what I mean? And they really want
Yeah.
to discuss it all encompassing. And that to me is beautiful in any industry. If you can talk to
Right.
somebody in a language and a level that they understand, you don't know what you may pull out of them, what greatness you're going to pull out of them.
Right. And, I've been in the healthcare industry for almost 30 years, and language has always been a big issue, especially for women who look like me that come through, and
Yes.
my white counterparts talking to people who look like me, thinking that they understand what you're saying when you're speaking so academic ease. Nobody knows what you're saying, and they're just
Right.
agreeing with you, but they don't know, because they don't know to tell you, I don't understand what you're saying to me. And or even I do understand, but I think I'm not agreeing 100% with what you're saying to me, or what my needs are.
Right.
So
And
yeah, what has
it
been your,
creates a distrust.
yes, this is
Hmm.
why I'm here, because I want to, build trust in the healthcare system. Um,
Yes.
because I know the history. I'm not blind to the
Right.
history of, the healthcare industry. And I don't even want to say the history, but the current making in history, like with
Right.
COVID-19 right now, the stark reality of the disparities and the racism and the structuralism of how people continue to be disadvantaged, in the healthcare system continues to work. And they want to tell you,
Right.
oh, the science, but your science is flawed. So
Right. Right.
it's
Because your
flawed. And
science
so
isn't for everybody, right?
right, right. And so without healthy conversations from people who you are trying to create treatment plans for, you can't really know, because you're not dictators of us.
Right.
This is a collaborative
Absolutely.
approach. Yeah. And I want to win.
Absolutely.
I want health at the end of the day. I don't want
Yes.
disease. I don't want to be broken and disadvantaged. So, Miranda, what
Right.
has been your greatest challenge to date, with the film industry, or your writing?
Um, it's the greatest challenge is really just getting someone to give you a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because it is a dog eat dog world kind of
Mm-hmm.
business. And you people people have to be willing to give you a chance.
Right.
And everybody isn't. And so I think, when they see even um the slightest amount of success, they're like, okay, well, you got it on your own, not realizing that, there's just levels. Everything is a
It's levels.
ladder. You don't get to the next one without the right, group and the right networking and all of that stuff. So it's building that. It's building that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also knowing I come from a corporate world. I've never had to, outside of me getting my own job, that kind of stuff and interviewing, I've never had to like literally fight for every single step to this greatness.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're fighting. You need somebody to hear you. You need somebody to take a chance on you. You
Right.
need somebody to believe in your writing and believe in your stories and wonder, well, how does a girl like you from this type of family have this story? Well, you don't know what I've been through until you listen to me and hear me and,
Right.
you know, really step into my shoes. So that's been the biggest challenge. But it's
Wow.
also
Wow.
the most exciting part because I'm 41 years old and I'm still excited every day that I wake up working in this.
That's great. I love it. I hope that that fire and that passion stays for a very long time, and
Yeah,
you accomplish everything that it is that you have set out to do. In saying that, then how is it that you balance it all?
I have no idea. I have no
Well, then let's
idea.
talk to us. Tell me, I saw your gardening pictures, and so tell me who
Yes.
this beautiful, heavy melanated woman with this straw hat on. That this picture was just so nostalgic and reminiscent of yesteryear. I was like, who is this power in this picture?
Well, that's actually a man.
Was
Yep. And his name is Quentin Turner. And it's from
it?
Quintessential Gardening. Yep.
Really? I could not tell what the gender was. I thought it was a woman because all I saw was this huge smile and this power.
Yes.
And so, of course, when I see smile and power, I see Black woman
Right.
with a
Well, hey,
promise.
it was a Black man too, right?
Well, you know what? I feel like Black men can be Black women because we birthing promise, we birthing things. And so,
Right.
whatever that
We
glory is
absolutely
on you,
are.
I love it. I just was like,
Yes.
who is this? So,
Oh my
I
God. And
think that's
he's
part of your balance.
amazing.
Is he? Is
He
he from
is. He's from LA.
LA? Uh-huh. Yeah, I
And
love
he's
that
great.
picture. How
It's
long ago
funny
was that
because
picture taken?
it was literally last Thursday they installed the garden.
It just looked like it was a snap of the past. And I was just like,
Yep.
oh, I see freshness and I see growth and I just see melanin and I just see life. It was just amazing. So is it safe
Yeah.
to say that your gardening has helped you to balance it all, being one with earth?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My dad was a big, big, big plant person. And so when
Okay.
he passed, me and my sisters even, fought over who's going to get his plants and blah, blah, blah. But I have the biggest backyard. And I love plants too. So I took them on. And then I really wanted a garden. My mom has one, but it's so hard and so difficult. And I don't know, what soil and if it gets too much sun, is this okay? And,
Right.
whatever. And Quentin came and he emailed me and we talked. And then, he came to the space and he just poured love into it and into the benefits of it. I'm really sticking my hands in this dirt every day.
Yes.
And even my husband's standing outside and he's watering and he's worried. I don't want them to go bad, and we're organic spraying rosemary oil so pests don't eat it and all this other stuff. So
Wow.
it's therapeutic because
It
I'm
is.
actually still being creative in that process.
Right. And taking care of and reproducing. And
Yep.
yeah. And when you say he came and poured love into it, that's all I saw. I was just like,
Yep.
who is this Mother Earth going on over here?
Exactly. Oh, that's funny because that's what my dad called my mom, Mother Earth.
Oh yeah, it was something. So tell me, Miranda, what is one word of advice that you would give your younger version of yourself?
Do it now.
God, do it now.
Do
Whatever
it
it
now.
is, huh? Just do it now. Get
Whatever
it
it
out the
is.
way.
Get it out. Just do it. You don't know. And I tell my daughter that she's 18. I tell her that every day. I just want you to be happy. So do it now. Do what makes you feel the most beautiful right now. Because it won't
Wow.
feel like work. It won't feel like work
It won't.
if it's
Once you
something
cross
you
into your
love.
vocation and you're doing what it is that you want to do, it's not even work.
Yep.
Sitting here before interviewing you, I get these butterflies and I'm just like, oh, how is this conversation going to go? I haven't spoken to her
Right.
before. I don't know her, but I know that, like you, I read that I love to congratulate people
Yes.
and to award people. and acknowledge people, because I see you and other people need to see you. And, I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Me too.
So,
And I was happy
what's,
to be chosen.
oh yeah, you are chosen. What's one question you wish people would ask you more often?
What's one question that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, how am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And really, really want to hear the answer, not just, hey, how
Mm-hmm.
are you?
Right,
Kind of thing. How am I
right.
doing? Because I'm not a sharer. You know, my mom and dad, when they separated, we were raised by our dad here in LA, and then we visited in the Bay. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you are raised by a man, they think differently, right? Their logic is less emotional in some respects.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you ask my dad on any given day, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. I'm blessed. My eyes open. Those were his
Right.
responses. But he
Very
never,
logical. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it never was like a deep, heartfelt sit and listen answer until he wanted to give you that. And I think that's big. I think that's big for anybody to really be heard when they're asked that question.
Right, right. Not just something for you to say, I'm fine, like they asked, but really
Exactly. I'm
stop for a
fine.
moment.
They
Yeah,
Most people want you to
yeah,
just say I'm fine so that they don't have
right.
to feel or take care of you in any way. But look, I'm getting choked up. But it's such a big question, especially right now with people dealing with mental health issues and stuff like
Right,
that. Like, people need people to talk to, and they need
right.
to
They
feel
need to
loved
see.
in
They
a
need to
lot of,
see,
yeah,
seen. Yeah.
need to be seen. Yes.
I appreciate that, Miranda, because it's so true. And we do have to ask, how are you?
Yep.
And wait for the answer. And I
And
do
wait for the
sometimes. I'm
answer.
at work and I'm like, how are you? And they're like, fine. And I say, how are you emotionally doing? How are you
Yeah.
handling everything? Because I'm a seer, and I think some people are uncomfortable around me because I see
Yes.
emotions, and I'm drawn to it because I'm a sensitive woman, and I want to know if you need some help. And not many people are open to it, but so I try to give them room to,
I love
like,
that.
okay, yeah, Glenee is here, so maybe I will just tell her how I'm feeling, and
Yes.
listen. So yeah, I think that's amazing, and what you're doing and your perspective and everything is just great, Miranda.
Thank
Keep
you.
it up. I love the fact that you're telling your daughter to right now to do it now.
Yes.
Hurry up and do it. Do it now. Fail forward. Get it
Right.
out the
Fail
way.
forward. Exactly.
Yeah, fail forward.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So, any last things you want to tell us about what it is that you're doing?
No,
Any
just
words
follow
of
me
advice?
on Instagram, because I'll be doing a lot more. And really, I wish, my biggest advice for anybody in this whole entire world is to really trust yourself. Trust yourself. There is a reason you were put here. It's not to go to work every day and come back home and only be a mom or only be a wife or only be anything. It's to really trust those gifts that deep down inside you have. Like, it's something that if it's handed to you, you could do it with your eyes closed, right? If somebody ever
Right.
asked me, oh, Miranda, tell me a story, I got a story and it's coming
Oh,
right out my mouth
wow.
as I'm
Yeah.
telling it. You know what I mean? So really, just trust yourself and trust your awesomeness. I don't think people give enough credit to their own awesomeness.
Oh no, people don't give enough credit to their own awesomeness because it's something that they've always been picked on about or ridiculed, and it made them
Yep.
feel inadequate or bullied. But I feel like those are your gifts that's standing out, and you have to learn how to buffer the insults and realize that
Yep.
that is your awesomeness people are trying to keep inside you and box you from growing into your greatest self.
Yes. I wrote a story when I first started writing again. It was called My Little Lies. And it was basically because when I was young, I got accused of lying a lot. And of course I did, because I could make up a story any time. But they were just my way of telling these stories, and I really didn't know, how to do it. And my mom and dad were very big. They always bought me journals. So then they were like, well,
Mhm.
start telling your little lies in here.
So you have
And
a
I
book full of
did.
my little lies.
It's called My Little Lies. And it's so beautiful because storytellers is that's exactly what we're doing. We're just making shit up as we go. So you never know.
Right. And that's funny because when I think of when I was young, I thought of storytellers and storytelling not as lies, but as it got older, it kind of like transitioned. Like you're storytelling. Like you're
Yes.
lying, but you're not. You may be embellishing,
Yep.
creating, and enhancing, but those are gifts, and it's
Yes.
your truth. It could, who's to say what's a lie?
Right. You don't know. Look.
You know. You don't know. So
Yep.
everyone, please follow I am underscore Miranda Bowden, MIRANDABOWDEN, and see what
Yes.
she does for the culture in her
Yes.
film and writing projects. Watch her grow because she's doing it for
Thank
you.
you.
She really is. Also, follow your RX for Life for more live interviews with amazing doers, group training, stress management plans, and workplace healthcare education. We want to bridge the gaps of health disparities and heal our working places.
Yes.
Give your RX for Life a try. I hope you all decide today to do more, to be more, and to achieve more. Until next time, everyone, please be well. Bye.